Hi students, welcome to social studies class and I hope so you all are fine and doing well, and I hope so most of you have attended the first periodic test online of social studies and you might have done well. Okay, so let us continue our class, and today we will continue history, and in that we will study the next chapter, nationalism in India. So students, I hope so you might have understood the lesson 1, chapter 1, that is nationalism in Europe. In Europe we saw nationalism came little late and people were searching for their identity. They wanted to know who are they. They were scattered in various kingdoms or princely states, you can say. So they had to first of all find their own identity. But if you see in India, it is quite different. People were knowing that they belong to a particular nation, but the feeling of nationality, nationalism was missing, because of which in our country Britishers ruled more than 200 years. So today we will read nationalism and various topics which are covered under this chapter. Okay, yes, we have seen that European countries, they were not ruled by any one of them. They were ruled by their own rulers and they were fighting to get united, have a national identity. But in our country and in India and you can say Asian countries, most of the Asian countries, the situation and the condition for nationalism was different. They were ruled by European powers. Asian countries were known as colonial countries. They were ruled by various other European powers. You can take example India, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, like that many European countries were there. They were ruled by the European powers. So in these countries, the nationalism feeling, the meaning of nationalism was different from the European country. Okay, let us come to our own country, India. So in India, you would have read about nationalism in previous classes, maybe 7th and 8th. Some few topics may be covered in 9th also. That was still the beginning of the 20th century. But in this chapter, we will read after 1920. From 1920s, how the nationalism spread and it continued in our country. Now, Congress tried to maintain unity among the Indians, tried to bring the unity among the Indians with the help of Mahatma Gandhi. And Indian National Congress was formed in the year 1885 by A.O. Hume. He was a retired British civil officer, a civil serviceman who helped the Indian leaders to form the Indian National Congress in 1885. Okay, now, but it was not very easy or simple process to bring the entire Indians under one umbrella, to unite entire Indians, because India was divided into various class, various religion, various caste, working classes, so many variations were there, language, regions, different mentality, different feelings of the people were existing. So unite them together was a little complicated process, but it was not impossible. It was little complicated but not impossible. Okay, so and I told we will be reading here from 1920s. but little flashback will take. You know, in India, the people started facing more hardship from the beginning of the 20th century. The life became more miserable from the beginning of 20th century. The reasons were that some various natural calamities and man-made disasters which took place at the beginning of the 20th century. You know, we all are aware of the First World War, which took place from 1914 to 1918. First World War, which was from 1914 to 1918, 4 years. And we all know that it was formed among the Allied powers and Axis powers. India was ruled by the Britishers. They were in the Allied powers. Now, to meet the war expenses, to meet the war requirements, the Britishers, the colonies where they were ruling, they increased the taxes, they increased the revenue in order to gain more and more taxes so that they can expend on the war requirements. In India, the peasants has to pay double revenue, double taxes. Each and everything was taxed. There was no single thing which was left where the Indians do not have to pay any tax. So what happened? This was another problem. And you know, between 1918 to 19 and 1920 to 21, there were various crop failures, famines and drought in India. During this period, there were various famines, drought failures and epidemic spread in India, because of which, you know, it is estimated that we lost 12 to 13 million of population. 12 to 13 million of population died in India. That is, various reasons are there. One is crop failure, epidemic, world war, and another one was that due to starvation. And Indians were forced to join the British Army. People from various villages, they were forced to recruit in the British Army. So all these created a type of hatredness, jealous, anger against the Britishers. Now, when this was happening, okay, at that same time, during this time, Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India in the year 1915. Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India from South Africa. South Africa was also ruled by the European powers, Britishers. So Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India in 1915, and he has gained a very good name, popularity in South Africa for carrying a successful satyagraha for the racial discrimination, against the racial discrimination. Africans were facing racial discriminations. So Mahatma Gandhi fought for the racial discrimination, and he made to win that moment, that satyagraha. And when he came to India in 1950, people had a very good hope, and they were thinking that Mahatma Gandhi, like South Africa, in India also he may carry satyagrahas and he may bring justice, freedom, and we can say freedom from the Britishers in India. So Mahatma Gandhi, in the year 1916, he established Sabarmati Ashram, 1916 only he went to Champaran. 1916-17 he went to Champaran in Bihar. That was the first satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi in India. Now, what was the problem in Champaran? The farmers of Champaran were fed up with the British policies. They were waiting for Mahatma Gandhi to find a solution for the problem. The problem was that in Champaran, Bihar, the farmers were forced to sell their product, their agricultural product, as per the will and wish of the Britishers. They were not allowed to keep the prices of their own product. The Britishers were fixing the prices and they were purchasing. Apart from that, the farmers has to pay double revenue. This was another problem. So, Mahatma Gandhi went to Champaran and they started his first satyagraha. Next, in the year 1917, Kheda in Gujarat. Kheda is also a district in Gujarat. There, the farmers were suffering from crop failures, various epidemics, and another was that they were to pay double tax revenue. So the farmers in Kheda wanted to have a relaxation, to have a concession, or you can say they wanted to cancel the revenue for certain period so that they can come up from the crop failure and from the epidemic. So Mahatma Gandhi launched his second successful satyagraha in 1917 in Kheda. Now, in 1918, Mahatma Gandhi went to solve the problem of the cotton mill worker. Cotton mill worker of Ahmedabad. In Gujarat, there also the cotton mill workers were not getting their wages salaries from past 2-3 months. So Mahatma Gandhi continued his third successful satyagraha in Ahmedabad against the Britishers to fulfill the demands of the mill workers of the cotton mill workers of the Gujarat. So these were the 3 successful initial satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi in a small procession, which he was gaining. By each satyagraha, he was gaining the popularity, and his followers, his supporters were increasing. His work were being praised by various communities, various people across the country. Next, by seeing the movement of Mahatma Gandhi, success of Mahatma Gandhi in various parts, the Britishers in the year 1919 came up with a new rule, administrative rule, and they passed an act known as Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act in the year 1990. Now, this act was passed without the support, without the confirmation of the Indian legislatures or the Indian members, or without the concern of the Indian political leaders. So, as per this act, any political prisoners who have been put in the jail could not get any bail or will not have any trial for minimum 2 years. Now, against this act, Mahatma Gandhi wanted to start rallies, satyagraha, dharna all over India. on 6th April 1919, Mahatma Gandhi, along with his followers, he started hartals, rallies, which took place in many cities of India. But when this became more offensive, more violent, then the Britishers started punishing and putting the political leaders into the jail as a political prisoner under the Rowlatt Act of 1919. Various leaders from across the cities were picked and were put in the jail. Mostly it was more effective in the North India. Next, what happened? Mahatma Gandhi was not allowed to enter New Delhi. He was kept out of Delhi. And various leaders from Amritsar and other surrounding cities were put in the jail. And two famous leaders of Amritsar, Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Khichlu, both were also put in the jail. Okay, so this procession was not liked and welcomed by Indians. They were totally against the Rowlatt Act. Now, meanwhile, Mahatma Gandhi could think more further about this solution of this Rowlatt Act. It was 13th April 1919, and 13th April 1919 in Amritsar, a place known as Jallianwala Bagh, a park which is enclosed by all the side boundary, 6 to 8 feet high boundary wall, and there is only one exit and entry to that park. In that park, people has gathered to celebrate Baisakhi Day also, and a small procession was also held meeting of political leaders to free the political prisoners who were put in the jail under Rowlatt Act by the Britishers. Now, on that day, people from across Amritsar, neighboring villages, from rural areas and all have gathered to celebrate the festival of Baisakhi. It was a fete like Mela time. Okay? Many people were unaware of this incident. Before 13th April, on 10th April, a small incident took place in Amritsar. There was a mob agitation of the people in Amritsar city. They attacked various banks, post office, railway stations and all, and there was a small incident of firing here and there, by which the Britishers has kept martial law in Amritsar city. Amritsar city was under the martial law, and the in charge of Amritsar city was given to Dr. General Dyer. General Dyer was given the in charge of the Amritsar city. Now, so on 13th April 1919, all the processions in the Jallianwala Bagh was taking very peacefully, very smoothly. Everywhere there were happiness, joy. People were enjoying the festival, and a small peaceful procession was also being taken in one of the corner of the park. That is a meeting, a political meeting, how to free the political prisoners. Okay. Now, General Dyer enters the park and he closed the entry and exit, as there was only one entry and exit, and without giving any warning, without giving any signal towards the mob or the people who were there in the park, he ordered his policemen to open fire on them. Now, in this incident, more than 1,000 people were killed. Many were killed with the bullets many were killed because of stamping, many were jumped in the well. There was a well also, many were jumped in the well to save their life. They died there also. Many tried to jump the wall, they were shot there itself. So many died because of stamping. So this was the most barbaric incident in the history of India till 1990. Most barbaric and cruel incident in the history of India. And this incident was totally criticized by entire nations of the world. All the nations criticized, even many leaders of England, that is Britishers also, many they criticized this incident which was done by General Dyer. Now, by this incident, entire nation was shocked because this was the first ever most barbaric incident which was taken place in India since the Britishers were ruling in India. So I hope so you would have understood till now. We'll continue in the next class. Bye. Take care.